Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to the Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guest is Thomas. Thomas, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So nice of you. Thanks for joining us. So let me know where you live and what you do.
I live in Chicago, Illinois, and I am the founder and CEO of a startup recycling organization called Reupcycle. It's primarily focused on cultivating the circular economy in Chicago, Illinois to combat our current littering issue. So we have a plastic littering issue out here and a poor recycling rate. And so I think with my initiative, we plan to, make a tremendous impact in minority communities specifically that experience high volumes of litter and low participation in those recycling programs.
Awesome. So I believe in this case, you must have some awareness campaigns as well, because I believe this business does need a lot of awareness as well for the people.
Indeed. Yes, I do. I actually have a Bottle Boy initiative. It's our form of outreach to the youth. It's educating the youth on sustainability and the importance of recycling as it's fundamental to this circular economy and their participation in it. And so, yes, we do have a number of outreach tools and initiatives to engage with the community at all levels, whether it be as young as 4 to 5 years old, all the way up until, senior citizen age. So we definitely have our word cut out in just as far as spreading the message and raising awareness.
So what was the biggest inspiration behind starting this? I believe it must be because of the cause, but is there anything else?
Yes, honestly, just speaking to my humanity, I see a grave deal of people who don't see the value in the quality of life around us. And it simply starts with our environment. So if you walk outside and you can simply just throw something that you just consumed on the ground, instead of throwing it in a waste bin to, properly dispose of it, it just speaks to, again, the mentality that you don't value the quality of life in your neighborhood. And so I see it as restoring humanity and starting within our own household. It makes us more mindful of how we consume and what we do with those raw materials that can be repurposed. So it's definitely layered, but it's layered in the degree of social entrepreneurship, but at its roots, the passion does come from, again, just me caring about humanity and wanting us to live a more sustainable lifestyle.
That's beautiful. Awesome. So can you please guide me a little bit about your short-term goals, what you are thinking about in next 3 to 6 months?
Yes. So right now I'm actually working on becoming a CPS vendor. That process, is a number of ways to get into that. CPS is Chicago Public Schools. And so, again, through our Bottle Boy initiative, we want to align with Chicago Public Schools, again, teaching the youth about sustainability and the importance of recycling in that process of cultivating the circular economy. And the way that we plan to do that is having bottle drives and, just ways of connecting with them throughout the school year and making them more aware of their carbon footprint and carbon emissions. So what we're really focused on is as far as the next 3-6 months go, because we're now in the summer session. So I wasn't able to successfully launch the Earth Day campaign, but in that in that pursuit of it, I was able to make an alliance with a couple of schools who are interested in the following school year. So in the fall, to have some type of program that they can start to implement. But again, with that comes funding, budgeting, and stuff like that we have to benchmark and check out and milestone those goals to just say we're on track to, get these certain numbers and the yield from these schools.
Makes sense. Just from my understanding, can you guide me a little bit? What is your customer acquisition process? Because obviously, in this case, customers, I believe in terms of your customers, everybody might be a part of awareness, but I'm not sure how you define your customers.
Yes, our customers are environmentalists, right? So I look at new customers as new humanitarians. As a matter of fact, when you sign up on our website, it says become a humanitarian, because this is a task that we need you to take on for the rest of your life. And so ideal customer is someone who's becoming more aware of just the damage that we're causing as a human race to our environment. And so that's anywhere from the age demographic that I'm noticing through our research and our outreach is really from like the age demographic from like 16 to 27. Those are the more environmentally conscious, like, oh yeah, it is more important to recycle. And then on the other side of that is the elders. It's the 48 to 65 plus age group that is aware of certain practices that they grew up with as far as sustainability and recycling. So some of these things were a part of their childhood that then, they transitioned out of. So there used to be the milk return was a thing, had milk delivered and then leave your empty bottles to be refilled. That was a form of circularity that was once implemented, then extracted from society. And so to get them to understand that there's a possibility for that to come back and them being incentivized in the process, it creates a demographic, a core group of supporters to want to see this change. And so it's mainly just people, our core demographic, again, comes from about the learned age of, student body-ish, 16 to 27. You can see people who are just now getting established post college or either exiting high school, going into college, post college, establishing themselves and being more mindful of these things and their consumerism. And so that's really where it's rooted in as far as our core support.
Makes sense. And what is the process of onboarding your clients?
The process is just simply going to our website and inquiring. So you can sign up at Reupcycle. That is RE-UPCYCLE.org, cycle.org. You can go there, sign up. It's like 3 forms of information, basically your name, your zip code, email to stay in touch with current events. From there, we begin the process of making sure that you're informed on what we accept, how we accept it, and collecting it and how we collect. So, yeah.
Makes sense. Awesome. So in terms of business, like business is something that is not like a job or 9 to 5 job. Obviously, a business needs your 24 hours, even when you're sleeping.
Yes.
Every entrepreneur, every business owner faces a lot of challenges, which completely makes sense. Every day there's a new challenge. Have you ever faced any interesting challenge and you think that is interesting to share? So if you can share that challenge along with how you were able to cope up with that challenge.
Yes. Honestly, as an entrepreneur, I feel what we all go through is establishing systems. At some point, we understand not everything is going to be on us. I have to delegate this task to someone else and have a system in place. So the key to any successful business opportunity for any entrepreneur is his ability to facilitate, but also to establish a great infrastructure. I think the people that you have on your team that are executives in the early phases who are just as tasked to roadmap this vision of yours, because I'm the founder and the CEO. So it's innovative to the area in which I am located. So it's innovative to Chicago because Chicago just doesn't have practical recycling, infrastructure, where this is a successful business model and a no-brainer in states like California and in Oregon. I've seen this business model as far as the redemption center goes, where you can get incentivized for, the plastic bottles and cans. I've seen it work other places. I'm just trying to implement it somewhere else. So it's not really reinventing the wheel per se. It's just implementing something I see that has success elsewhere and making it make sense in the environment that I come from. And so, not to stray away from, again, the initial question, that in itself is a challenge because, again, people have to have the mindset. They have to be able to be receptive to the things that you see and then play their part in making and assisting that come to fruition. So policymakers, people who are capable of lobbying to get a bottle bill is, again, a part of the infrastructure, a process, leveraging your network to make sure that you're getting, checking things off and gaining momentum so that the organization can sustain. It's mainly what it is the juggling act. It's the fact that you have to be able to turn a dollar you have to be able to turn a dollar, then to distribute that dollar amongst your infrastructure, because they're the skill that makes you the money in the first place. And so you really don't know this process of earn and burn until you actually understand what it means to stand in front of people and say, no, as I need your skill set to go to work for me, and I'm going to pay you for the value of the yield of the. And so you don't pay yourself first. That's the
Yeah.
romance that I want people to get out of when they think ownership. No, you get paid last. And that's the part that, again, if you're not okay with paying yourself last and paying talent first, don't become an entrepreneur. It's not for you.
Yeah, exactly. That completely makes sense. Awesome. So, in terms of your differentiators, I'm not sure, by the way, I'm not sure if you have any competitor in the market, at least in your area. But if you have the competitors, then what are your big differentiators?
Honestly, it's working capital. That's the only thing that's keeping me out of the race as far as being recognized amongst the established companies in the city. So everyone that I'm going up against has 20 plus years in waste management. The newest company that I honestly assisted get some funding for a new facility was Lakeshore Recycling. It's a funny story. Back in 2022, I was reaching out to them to set up a virtual tour. It was actually 2021. It was approaching 2022, so I'd rather say 2022. I mean, this is when I was in heavy conversation with Lakeshore Recycling. And I was basically asking them questions about like what their systems were like as far as their recycling processes. Do you guys, what capacity do you guys hold up to? Is it paper? Do you guys only process paper, cardboard, and plastic? Like, what is exactly the breakdown? And me being inquisitive, I judge it made them be like, you know what, we need to be a little more versatile and open this up. And so they got funding, a $51 million loan from a closed loop recycling to get a new facility. And I was like, that's great. Can I get a tour of that facility now? And they're like, no, absolutely not. Like, you're a potential competitor. We appreciate your insights and all of that, but no, you've done enough. And so I've learned in this startup process that you can always be intentional about having great, like, so in my position now as a startup founder, I can't look at people as competition because they have more working capital to leverage against my position. So it's just like, right, one campaign from those guys and it kind of bottoms out my entire, you know what I'm saying, momentum. And so I've learned that, collaboration isn't really something to pursue. As much as I would love to be in this space where, we have a common ground and common interest that we can all go for something and have a benefit from it. People don't see it that way. It is very much cut and dry. No, those numbers that you can get take away from my bottom line. And so I don't care to market to that demographic that you care about. Whatever numbers we get from that area is the numbers we get from that area. And it's just like, but they're poor. They're less than 10%. That's the truth. It's the recycling rate that I'm most optimistic about, right? Making the impact in the citywide recycling rate because it's under 10%. And so when you start to make an impact, especially in the minority communities that consume so much, you will see those numbers grow tremendously just in starting a new trend in these communities. It's just a no-brainer. But it's also something that most people don't want to they don't want to involve themselves in it. It's not really a lucrative endeavor until you can actually see the thirst come from the other side. And so I'm tasked to basically show the masses in so many words that Black people, Black and brown people, minorities, from these inner city, urban areas care about sustainability and care about recycling. So now we need these programs in these areas to then, fund new opportunity. It's especially creating jobs. Like that's another thing that my endeavor is more so passionate about is creating the job opportunity that it creates for everyone else, and not just for us. You know what I'm saying, on the inside, not for us who are just well insulated in the idea and the vision. It's like no, everyone can get involved in this. I call it like a wedding cake. At a wedding, you see that beautiful cake and it's tall, but it's like everyone in the room is gonna get a slice, maybe two, because it's that big and beautiful, right? And so that's what I call this. It's like, no, it's a wedding cake. Don't think that it's just going to be so much that no, everyone can get a slice of this and be satisfied.
That's beautiful. Awesome. So, Thomas, can you tell me how you measure your success? Obviously, there's an easiest way to measure your success by just considering the numbers of the revenue. But do you have other elements involved in it?
Yeah, impact. That's the real answer to that is impact. That's the only way I can really measure my success. And that's why I don't really say I have much success in this. While I have had success in networking very well and meeting with people within the industry who can understand exactly what my uphill challenge is and say, you know what, I champion you for being able to stomach this journey as it is, because this is a 4 going on 5 year process for me of just getting it launched, exactly getting a facility up to code that can take the capacity of, again, worrying waste. So it's all, everything's down the zones and codes. And so if I really want to make it accessible to my people, black and brown people, and make it to where it's a job opportunity, I also have to make it commute friendly. And so these are all things that are just uphill battles. These are all things I have to account for. So to me, success looks like just the impact, just the ability to spread the word and to get people involved on a communal level, because at the end of the day, we just want to restore humanity. Everyone within my organization is more passionate about restoring humanity than they are just about their own individual successes. Because at the end of the day, like, what good is a world of glitz and glamour and lavish and luxury when the rest of the world is chaotic? How is it that you can live a beautiful lifestyle and lavish and then walk outside and have to risk fighting for it to sustain it? It's just like, that's where I see the world going with how we prioritize capitalism and money, just the way that we glamorize the luxury lifestyle. It's like, all of that's great, but you do know there are people starving. So it doesn't make sense that you would be spending, $10,000 a month for a penthouse, or, that's not even a number. It's actually way more egregious than that. It's like 27,000 a month for a penthouse that's only 3,500 square feet. And it's like, there are people who are homeless, where you could be using that as a resource to keep those people off the streets instead of just, again, living a lavish lifestyle. So yeah, success for me looks more like impact, to where you can see change. You can see the quality of life improving in areas where it was once destitute, where it was once rural, where it was once, impoverished, to where people didn't have the opportunities to even sustain a basic living. That's really what I would say I would root my success in. It's just simple impact and improving quality life.
That's true. That's cool. Awesome. So, Thomas, at the end, can you please give one of your biggest piece of advice to other entrepreneurs?
Yes. My biggest piece of advice to entrepreneurs is to ground yourself in your passions. I wouldn't advise that you go off into something because you can see it's possibly a good opportunity. No. Ground yourself in your passions, because once the flame starts to dim just a little bit, you're going to need something to ignite that flame once again. And so there's so many times where you hear people saying burnout, I'm burnt out, I'm burnt out. Passion doesn't burn out. That's an infinity flame. And so I would just say to any entrepreneur, ground yourself, root yourself in your passions, and let everything flow from that state, whether that be a business endeavor, whether that be in relationships. So always where you're trying to find common ground and connectability with people, right? And so cohesion, you're always trying to find cohesion. And so, because again, as a leader, someone who I do see myself as a leader, as someone with the leadership mentality, I would just offer that to other leaders, other like-minded individuals, to always just stay rooted, stay grounded in their passion.
That's true. Awesome. So, Thomas, at the end, can you please let our viewers know how they can reach you if they want to? You can share your website, your social media handle, or whatever you want to share.
Yes, I know they can always find me at Reupcycle on Facebook. That is RE-UPCYCLE. Also on LinkedIn, my name is Thomas B. Adams Jr. on LinkedIn and Reupcycle. We also have pages there. We also have the website, which is www.reupcycle. That is RE-UPCYCLE.org. Yeah, you can stay in touch with me through those social media handles. And just stay and look through the website for more updates and posting.
Awesome. Well, Thomas, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. I really enjoyed the conversation, and we will stay.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
Thank you. Have a good day.